Welcome to the 2022 Every Student Succeeding video series, where every week we'll take you to a different part of the state to catch up with one of our incredible Every Student Succeeding winners. This week, we're in LA Unified visiting with Israel Tavera from Public Service Community School. Israel, good to be with you, man.
Nice to meet you.
I want to start with this. When you found out that you won the ACSA Every Student Succeeding Award, what was your reaction?
It means a lot, actually. It actually does mean a lot because people in this community don't really get much support. And never once that I think I would be a person to get that type of support. So, I kind of do realize that the things I went through weren't, just for nothing. Now that I'm actually being celebrated for it and actually getting some type of support for it, it means a lot. It does definitely mean a lot.
Look, man, your childhood wasn't easy. You grew up in what you have described as a pretty tough community. How much did that shape who you are today and kind of what you've had to overcome?
In my community, it's kind of like, it's almost like a given fact of life. It's going to be hard, and not hard in the way like, oh, life is just sad. No, life is difficult. It can be violent. It can be very unforgiving. You kind of grow up in this community with like just a basic level of anxiety. It's really weird because growing up, you just kind of know things are dangerous around your area. There's a lot of gangs in this neighborhood, but it is also definitely a place where a lot of strong people come from. And I'm kind of proud to say I'm one of those people now.
Yeah, you talk about that anxiety, man. I think there's a stigma around mental health that not everybody wants to talk about it. Not everybody wants to acknowledge it. I mean, you look at the fact that during the pandemic, 40 to 50% of the country was dealing with some form of depression or anxiety. How did all of that impact you? And how have you gotten to the place now where you're willing to discuss mental health?
So, during the pandemic, it's kind of it was a kind of weird situation because I kind of used, as tough as the neighborhood is, I kind of escaped from my house to kind of explore that, and I used skateboarding as a way to escape my my situation at home. The problem arises when the pandemic happened. You kind of have to stay home, and staying at home with with that situation I had, it forced me to face it. But at first, I did not like to face it. I pushed away a lot of the things that were like my responsibility. I pushed away school. I pushed away family members. I just became this very reserved person, which is, if anyone knows me, that's not who I am.
What role did the school community play for you finding your success and helping you through that adversity?
So growing up in the school that I went to, that support was kind of always there. But I just kind of maybe it's just the mindset everyone has here, because like mental health researchers are kind of stigmatized. They're seen as like, if you reach out to that, you're just weak mentally. But I kind of argue the point that if it takes a pretty strong person to reach out for help. So those resources were always there. In elementary school, they were there. Middle school, they were there. But it didn't take me, like, it took me up until high school to really just, reluctantly accept that help. But it was one of the best decisions I made.
That's so powerful that you can make the argument that reaching out for that help, that is strength. That is such a good point. I want to close with this, Israel, to students who are facing similar challenges, and we know so many of them are dealing with some form of depression or anxiety, many of them as a result of this pandemic. What would your advice be to them?
Definitely, since I wouldn't say I overcame everything. I still go through these very difficult phases in my life. Even after, I feel like if some people come, you kind of look up to me, and it's a weird feeling because I still see them as one, like I'm one of them. So I don't really feel like I'm at a point to really give advice, but I have given advice to people, and it's always, it's not really about how difficult things get, because it's always going to be difficult. It's always about how you get up from those things. If you fall 1,000 times, you better get up 1,001 times.
Amen to that. Couldn't have said it better myself. Israel Tavera, it was a pleasure spending some time with you, man. Congratulations on your success. Headed to Cal State LA in the fall. We wish you best of luck, and thanks for taking the time.
Of course.
And that'll do it here for another episode of our ACSA Every Student Succeeding video series. More episodes throughout the summer and into the fall for everyone here. I'm Michael Kelly.